What is up guys, welcome to Boomer Base. As voted from the previous community post, today we are here to talk about my top 10 favourite anime. Just want to say a quick thanks to everyone that voted. It might not seem like much, but this is the most votes I've had, so thank you. If you want to help with videos, don't forget to vote when you see a community post for the next video. But before we get to the good stuff, as always, let's get cracking. Firstly, I want all of you to remember that this list is my opinion. Not everything I say will resonate with you, and that's fine. All I ask is that any comments and thoughts are nice and kind. By all means, make your own suggestions down below, and don't forget to subscribe. For this video, I think I'm going to have to rank them, so this video will be in order. Now, what quantifies as my favourite? I think I would have to describe as how much I love the anime and how much the anime has impacted me. Whether that makes sense or not, but starting at number 10. One that you might have heard about recently, and that is one of my favourite underrated anime, which is Claymore. And if you haven't seen that video, check it out below, the link will be in the description. I will try not to repeat too much with the previous video, but this anime I stumbled upon with a friend. I got hooked, binged most of it, and finished by myself. I have come to watch this anime once a year or so, and have finally bought the manga box set, so look forward to a video about my recent manga pickups. This anime is available physically and on Crunchyroll in the UK, and I will say it here and only here, but this is for the UK, so anything I say about where an anime is available, please be mindful and check your respective streaming platforms and places you buy anime. This anime follows a claymore called Claire. You may be asking what a claymore is. A claymore is someone that fights a monster race called Yoma, and a claymore is made from a human being injected with Yoma blood. You know, the typical we can't fight the monsters, so become a little like the monsters. We follow Claire as she takes on tasks to destroy Yoma by the organisation who oversee the claymores. Now, there is something ominous with the organisation, but that comes from watching the anime and reading the manga, so I will leave that for you to find out. This anime has lots of twists and turns and a lot of adrenaline-fueled fights, so if you're someone that enjoys kick-ass fights, especially kick-ass female fights and fighters, then this anime is for you. We get some girl power friendships between some of the claymores and some intense attitudes from others. Although towards the end of the anime it does change a little from the manga, but this can sometimes happen and isn't too much of a big deal. The biggest disappointment is that we didn't get a season 2 or any form of continuation. The anime ends around volume 11 of the manga, but might be worth just reading from the beginning anyways. Probably for the last nearly 15 years now, I have preferred to consume anime in sub. I am a sub person over a dub. Dub nowadays just sounds really cringy and awful to me and just for some reason doesn't fit. But that's again my prerogative. If you enjoy dub over sub, that's completely fine. But this, with Claymore, I find it weirdly comforting to watch the dub. I think it's just when I was first introduced to it, I watched it in dub, and that's just been the most, accessible for me. So, it doesn't sound as cringy either. It's an anime that's only 26 episodes as well, which is a big bonus. It's nice and short and sweet. And if you go to read the manga, normally it can be bought as a whole box set, which is great. And other than that, it's finished, so the manga itself, there won't be any more waiting around. I won't spoil anything from the manga, but if you enjoyed the end surprise for Attack on Titan Season 3, you know what I mean. If you like uprooting surprises like that, then Claymore has also got you covered. Some mind-blowing plot developments come after the anime finishes as well. I would definitely have to say either Teresa versus Priscilla or Claire and Friends versus Dolph is my favourite fights within the anime. I don't really want to go into detail as this would spoil things, but believe me, they are cool fights. To repeat myself from earlier, I think Claymore is one of the most underrated anime out there, and I think if you're a fan of Berserk, in whatever format, you will like Claymore. Well, this is Future Ben here. I have since bought the manga like I said, and I've read it all, and I steamrolled through all 27 volumes in a couple of days. It has secured itself as one of my favourite anime and mangas now. Next, coming at number 9, we have Parasite the Maxim. You got to know now is how we... When I was younger, I used to watch a YouTuber called World. I still do on odd occasions, and one of his video pickups he spoke of a manga called Parasite and recommended it. I bought the 8 volumes available, and from doing this video I did find out there was a colour version of the manga that has been coming out, so that is going in my basket. Not long after seeing that video, and before I'd started reading the manga, the anime started airing. That intro song had a hold on me. It was my phone ringtone, it was my alarm clock. I absolutely loved the song. The story follows Shinichi, a timid, shy boy who one night gets woken up by a parasitic slug alien type of thing, and the story unfolds around that. These aliens have invaded Earth and are inhabiting people, but Shinichi manages to not become a host and instead forms a bond with the alien, as the alien relies on Shinichi to stay alive. Thus, the pair is forced into an uneasy coexistence and must defend themselves from hostile parasites that hope to eradicate this new threat to their species. The brisk pacing really helped to sell the situation as well. Key events that would go on to shape our protagonist's ever-morphing psyche were given enough time to sink in, but the show never forcefully came to a full stop just to let it be digested, which allowed the gravity of the circumstance to remain poignant while keeping the show in motion. Traumatic events were given their time, and so we as an audience were allowed to invest in the turmoil that came as a direct result. But what ultimately made these traumatic events work is that they occurred during moments where our protagonist wasn't given ample time to process it all. Of course, there were some issues, most of which were a result of retrofitting this 80s manga adaptation to fit a contemporary modern day setting, while not accounting for the overexposure of current technology. The intention the creators had to modernise the material was understandable, however, I am not here to talk in depth about the manga. In essence, it worked with some problems if you read the source material. The constant comparisons between Tokyo Ghoul and Parasite are ones that are warranted, since they both made their anime debut around the same time period and approached similar constructed themes and setups. I think this anime should be more popular than Tokyo Ghoul in some retrospect. I also think this anime is much better as well. Now, don't get me wrong, I really enjoyed Tokyo Ghoul, but I think this deserved more attention than it got. I would have to say my favourite fight is Shinichi versus his mum, but that's all I'll say on that. Without a doubt, I really love this anime. It's short but long enough to fill that void sometimes. It is a show like some of my favourite on this list that I just come back to every so often and roll around in the nostalgia bubble of times gone. It wouldn't be a stretch in saying that this is one of the best anime to come out during the winter of the 2014 season. A lot of people can agree with me on this. Just go on any forum or video and then read about the posts explaining about the Tokyo Ghoul versus Parasite, or the Parasite is better than Tokyo Ghoul. What got me hooked on this show was that it kept me on the edge of my seat literally every episode. And what I mean by that is, I don't think you fully understand. There was a cliffhanger every episode. Sometimes I was left there huffing and puffing since I came to the realization that I had to wait an entire week to watch what would happen next. I really enjoyed watching this anime. The only thing that was wrong with it was that it wasn't ambitious enough, which really isn't a flaw, just my imagination running rampant. Either way, this is a must-watch anime right here. It was a roller coaster, and I would recommend anyone who enjoys anime to ride it. Coming in at number 8, Hunter x Hunter, or Hunter x Hunter, however you want to pronounce it. I will continue to call it Hunter x Hunter, as this is how I have always watched it, despite it being potentially wrong. I started watching this on Crunchyroll around the Greed Island arc as it was airing, and by God did I hate waiting weekly for the Chimera Ant arc when that started getting spicy. Now that the manga has resumed, and I will use resumed lightly, if it properly does, I would look to get the manga for this, as I would love to find out what happens fully after the series ends. I have seen bits and bobs and heard about bits and bobs, but we aren't here to talk about the manga, we're here to talk about everyone's favourite bubblegum clown, Hisoka. But we are here to talk about the anime, so for this, so far this is the longest I've spoken about, I think including my other videos as well, which you should definitely check out, links are down below. But this anime clocks in at around 148 episodes, a chunk I know, but totally worth it. I know there are 2 movies, but here in the UK, as far as I'm aware, I have nowhere legally to view them. If you so choose to watch the gracious series that is Hunter x Hunter, watch it well past the first few episodes. Though the first few episodes make the entire series as a whole seem bland, If you think this way, you're wrong and you should feel bad. The quality and depth of the story improves tenfold as the show continues. It's odd as you're watching a boy Gon, who is the main character, who is 12, which is a little bit younger than some of the mainstream shonen viewers that we are used to, with people like Naruto, Ichigo and Luffy, and they're a little bit older, so the anime can feel a little kiddie, and Gon himself looks a little younger than 12. Or can kind of perceive to be quite childish, but let me tell you, it's certainly not. I would probably put it as the darkest out of the Naruto, Bleach and One Piece. Like, the shit gets dark and deep. Madhouse Studio did an excellent job adapting Yoshiro Togashi's manga, which has been on a long hiatus for a while and stops and starts, but hey ho. But if you haven't heard of Yoshiro Togashi, he's also done Yu Yu Hakusho, which is available on the Netflix here in the UK, as well as Crunchyroll and physically, so that's also something you should check out as well. The story starts off fairly interesting and grows exponentially more, increasing per episode and arc. The author Togashi has an amazing sense of pacing. Some plots take several episodes to resolve, but so much happens in each episode that it becomes something that enhances the show. The story is also incredibly immersive because of how well Togashi builds the Hunter x Hunter world. As you follow the main characters on their journey, you learn more and more about just how expansive and unique the world is. There's always something new to explore, which really does make the show feel like an adventure. Each arc varies in tone. The tone starts off pretty light and gradually gets darker. My god, does it get darker. Not to imply that the light arcs are inferior or anything, they're still immensely enjoyable. The show just contains many different forms of entertainment. The darker arcs will include scenarios and scenes of such intensity and drama and action that you won't understand how anyone could have possibly waited a week for the next episode, and I certainly struggled. There are very few ways to adequately describe how brilliant the author writes such likeable, unique and interesting characters, and I mean all of them. This is a rare kind of show where every time I see a character come back after not being around, I feel such joy seeing them, especially the villains. You will love the villains so much that you legitimately will not know who to root for at many parts in the series. The show often develops villains so much that I found myself at times hating the good guy just because of what they did to a bad guy. Regardless of the genres you enjoy, Hunter x Hunter is guaranteed to be a breath of fresh air. Togashi seems to have a penchant to subvert almost every trope and cliche in the book, leaving you guessing at every turn. The result is a brilliant and captivating piece of entertainment, guaranteed to captivate you like almost no other show can. Whatever your answer to the question what makes a series great, know that Hunter x Hunter or Hunter x Hunter has it. Coming up at number 7, Hajime no Ippo. Hajime no Ippo is a sports anime, and if you're not familiar, it's one of my favourite genres, and it took me by absolute storm. And it first happened when I watched Kuroko's Basketball when that first started airing. I think it was only around, I think season 1 had only just come out at the time. You know, it had everything I wanted and more, and what's more, it made me want to play the sports and train. Hajime no Ippo did this tenfold. It's probably the best written sports anime in my opinion, although another sports anime is higher on this list, but my enjoyment for it supersedes this sadly. It's a little shorter than Hunter x Hunter at 75 episodes, but there is a couple of specials and movies and OVAs, whatever you want to call it, and then there's a series called New Challenger at 26 episodes, and then a further series called Rising at 25. I have a few non-anime friends that have watched this on my recommendation and they've really enjoyed it. It is available on Crunchyroll, but it's not and Netflix in the UK as well, but other than that, it's not available physically, sadly. What makes this anime special is undoubtedly the characters. How each character is so likeable, so original, and so fully developed that you end up understanding, caring, and rooting for them in the end. How even the ones that only last an episode, even Ippo's opponents, can give such plausible and staggering backstories that you might actually find yourself siding against the main hero for a match or two, and how these characters are just so serious with their lives that you really feel it, and you end up believing that such a world could actually exist out there. The art for Hajime no Ippo could be a drawback for many, as it is a very 90s and perhaps even a little earlier. It's very shonen-y. However, after a short while, the art style becomes something that you'll appreciate and serves to highlight the ruggedness that comes with boxing. As mentioned, it's only available on Netflix and Crunchyroll here in the UK. Sadly, no physical release is available, but I would eat that up in a heartbeat. Same with the manga. One day, one day. I have the first manga volume in Japanese, one of the few Japanese volumes I even bothered to get. This is the story of Ippo Makunoichi, a second-year high school student who has been bullied for his entire life, downtrodden to the point where his biggest wish is to know what it feels like to be strong. Then one day he finds his chance when he is introduced to the world of boxing. He starts off his career strong by breaking the spirit of a kid who's been training his entire life. Ippo comes in as a complete amateur and wallops him, defeats him, ultimately surpasses him and forces him out of the country, effectively starting a lifelong rivalry that he isn't even fully aware of. Watch Ippo as he moves on to bigger and better things, destroying boxers one by one, crushing the actual dreams of others so that he may further his dream of becoming strong and having fun boxing. I have even heard Ippo compared to a villain, which honestly could be argued, but he's darn right lovable and enjoyable to watch with his work ethic. He was given a chance and by gosh did he grab it and crush it some more. The amount of character development Ippo goes through is just phenomenal. From a kid bullied his entire school life to a professional boxer, surrounded with great friends and fans, he has taken on a journey on what it means to become strong. Also, the friends he makes along the way are just hilarious. Takamura, Aoki and Kimura are the centre of all the comedy in this series. They each have their own absurdly humorous personalities. Their paths are both inspiring and ridiculously fun to watch, but I cannot spoil, you'll just have to watch it for yourself. Not much else can be said other than that if you're willing, give it a try. You might be surprised. I found myself unable to stop after watching the first episode. It did well to keep me hooked. It's a bit long and you won't be able to do it in one sitting, but if you like it, you will just speed through it. The last fight of the show was absolutely amazing. Coming in at number 6, Dragon Ball Z. This is the GOAT right here. Many early days as a young rugrat watching Dragon Ball Z on Fox Kids, getting bubblegum with trading cards and figures from car boot sales or yard sales for any American folk tuning in. This is one of the anime like Pokemon that I grew up with and I've grown with as well. I was too young to be about to watch actual Dragon Ball, but have since watched it and loved it for what it is. But Dragon Ball Z, gosh darn, I shared so many memories of this show with friends, watching videos about what ifs, who's stronger, what if this would have happened instead. So many memories playing the video games, especially Raging Blast 1 and 2. Whilst I say I watched it as a kid, I was only like in year 8 or so when I started watching it properly. So around about the age of 13ish, there was a website that wasn't legal, whoops, that a friend introduced me to, and I lost a lot of sleep to this website. I was binge watching the heck out of it, as I had never really watched it chronologically. Well, technically I had, but I wasn't watching, back to back. I would suddenly, be maybe a few episodes in advance when I next saw it. And the website had all the films as well. Lord almighty, there was just so much to consume. Then there is an amazing abridged series, which is hilarious as well. You should definitely check that out, Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Now, it's a very chunky show and the longest so far at 291 episodes. Now, they have released something called Dragon Ball Z Kai, which is the show without essentially any filler, and it gets right to it. I would say watch the original, but Kai is just much more to the point and better to digest if you haven't really consumed Dragon Ball Z before. We also have 2 continuing series called Dragon Ball GT, which isn't canon, and then there's Dragon Ball Super, which is. Now, I must say, never touch the live action film. It's quite possibly the worst film to be made. Now, with Dragon Ball films, there is 21 animated films in total. Most are non-canon, but some of the later ones are canon, and to be honest, they are great to consume alongside the show, as the power levels for the characters scale with that. So speaking about that, I love the power scaling within the show. It's something that I've really enjoyed and still enjoyed, and wish more shows had, as you could easily compare and contrast characters with these, and you could do it with characters that had never met, and you could make critical analysis of whether the character could beat a character he's never met based on the data and power levels that were available, and really make some compelling cases. Dragon Ball Z is just an epic anime. It's the granddad of anime. No doubt it's one of the most popular series that have helped spread the art of anime to the West and to the world as a whole. You've no doubt heard others poke and make fun for this show for various idiosyncrasies. Next time someone tells you that the plot of the show is stupid or cliche, or that the fight scenes drag on forever, get them into an armbar and make them beg for mercy, because they just told you a goddamn lie straight to your face. Dragon Ball Z is, in reality, A beautifully paced, glorious tale of a group of proud men defending their universe from a rotating cast of bombastic douchebags. And annoyingly, those bombastic douchebags are great villains. The show itself has insane villains. They're really, really good. This is also a show that I also really enjoy watching in dub as well as sub. I probably consumed as much dub as I have sub for this. Most anyone who has ever seen an episode of anything anime related knows of and has seen Dragon Ball Z. I won't go in depth on each character, but they are all unique in their own way and usually have a funny side as well to their serious side. This is a side of the show you often don't hear about, which is the comedy. Although it hasn't always been prevalent, the comedy is always there to break up a situation. The inclusion of Mr. Satan later is an effect to make the show more comedy orientated, but it will always be first and foremost an action-adventure show. Dragon Ball Z is a guilty pleasure. Despite the many flaws in the series, there is no doubting the enjoyment of the series. I won't lie to you and say this is a crazy well-written anime or anything like that. It's a show if you want to watch crazy power-ups, most of which you probably already know due to how long the series has been out, and watch badass fights that sometimes, will take a little bit long, but once you're swept by Dragon Ball Z, you're in it for the long haul. Overall, I highly recommend watching this anime. Enjoy the anime, take the time to develop a sense of understanding and passion for this anime. Don't rush everything and, just consume it. Ignore the haters and trolls who try to disregard Dragon Ball Z. And hey, if you don't want to go into something that's 291 episodes, maybe start with some of the films. They're quite easy to digest and kind of give you an idea of the characters and things. Coming in at number 5, Attack on Titan. Fuck me, this show messed me up. Watching this weekly to the end was torture. I am thankful I let most of season 4, bar the 2 films, like last episodes, come out before I watched it. In total, it has 94 episodes, which is great. The length won't bother you once you watch even the first episode. There is such a shock factor throughout this show, it's honestly nuts. Story-wise, this is probably one of the most, if not the best written show manga out there. The twists and turns are insane, and because of its semi-short nature, after some time it really is just easy to rewatch and find new things that you didn't see before and get wrapped up in the complex story and forget some big plot points and then have the same shock value again. After Sword Art Online repopularized the isekai genre, Attack on Titan in 2013 took the anime industry by storm. I remember the Fine Bros doing a video for them reacting to it, and the kids and teenagers who didn't like anime, they knew about it and enjoyed it from what they saw. I won't speak much about the plot or story, if at all, with this, as it's best to know nothing. Attack on Titan is such a well done product that it has all the key strong points we all dream every series could have. By this I mean the story, characters, animations, openings, OSTs, ending sequences, art, directing, narrative, character development, and most importantly, the it factor. These are all present with A-grade production values. You won't be skipping the opening to Attack on Titan, so get ready for shouting random Japanese words in your day-to-day life. Humanity is essentially at the brink of extinction due to constant Titan attacks. It is unknown why these Titans attack humans and eat them, therefore humanity sets up a wall to protect itself from the harm of Titans while sending a squadron to investigate those mysterious beings attacking humans. This is another rare series where every character in the story has a fair amount of screen time, and there is a lot of investment in every character, allowing them to shine and not be left out. At the start, it does feel like it's mostly focused on the main character, Eren, but as the series progresses on, it essentially is more like everyone is the main character, and my god, there is so many emotional moments in Attack on Titan with so many deaths and destruction. Episode 5 of Series 1 is the episode that I like to say that if you're not hooked by this point, it might not be for you, but I would consider seeking some medical attention at that point. Some people found Eren, the main character, a little annoying at first, but hey ho, loads of characters have far worse characteristics than what Eren goes through. The animation and scenery is not something to sneeze at either. The first few seasons were animated by Wit Studios and were so visually good. Now, there was a little lag between season 1 and 2 that had some people fall off, but hey ho, that can happen a little bit. Later on, the series was done by Mappa Studios when they got their hands on Attack on Titan, and I can just say how incredible their animation was. Like, I remember watching the first 2 episodes and loving the new designs, loving the characters and things, and I thought they looked a bit more true to themselves in regards to the manga. The animation itself had such beautifully dark undertones to it that really highlighted the darkness of the story. The new CGI was used by them felt much more smooth when it was incorporated into everything. No matter which studio was animating, the music was always something incredible for each season. Every single opening and closing song to this anime has to be some of my favourite songs for anime, along with the soundtrack that plays behind action-packed scenes. The music always fits the mood and elevates scenes to their absolute full potential. Now, I've rambled long enough. I hope this helps you in wondering if you should watch Attack on Titan or not. No matter who asks me, I recommend it. I will always say yes, with a beautifully well thought out story that has an incredible message behind it, to the stunning animation, and a playlist worthy music. I think it would be silly for anyone not to recommend a show like this. Next up at number 4, Death Note. The first time I watched this was in year 7, so I might have only been about 12 or so at the time, and I was in a hotel in London and was watching it on a portable DVD player. This was the first anime that I considered to be anime when I was younger. I didn't really know that Pokemon, Digimon, etc. were anime, they were just cartoons to me. This was also the first anime that I owned physically on DVD, and it's again one where I treated it as being an anime pickup that I got on DVD. Death Note was my favourite anime until I saw what was on my number 1 for this list, but even with Death Note's dark themes and tones, it randomly became such a comfort show to watch, and it also has one of the best openings ever. It again is a series that I can watch in dub and have absolutely no qualms with the dub, but hey-co, we can move past that. And I recently upgraded it to Blu-ray, which is on one of my pickups videos in the short section, so if you're interested in watching me buy Blu-rays and 4Ks and upgrading my collection, feel free to check that out. As time went by and I got more and more into anime, I found a genre called, or defined as, non-battle anime, and essentially, to cut a long story short, it's an anime without any physical battling, but can be things like battles of the mind, or sports anime, or things like food wars with cooking. Super Eye Patch Wolf does a fantastic video on it, so check that out as well. Link will be in the description. And although I am a sucker for some good old shonen fisticuffs, I have to say this type of genre has become one of my favourite types of anime, as it has all the stakes of the fighting, but weirdly almost higher stakes. As for Death Note, Light has to try outsmart L, and you don't know who's going to outsmart the other and when, and it becomes so captivating to watch and really draws you in. But if you've lived under a rock and have never seen Death Note, like Yagami, our main character stumbles upon something called a Death Note, and he tests it out and finds out it actually does work. It kills whoever's name is written inside, with some added rules to change things up about how they die, etc., and you could learn that more as you watch the show. A Shinigami called Ryu dropped the Death Note. Life goes on this sort of crusade to eliminate criminals, and has a sort of god complex and adopts the name Kira. The police and L attempt to capture him, and it becomes a battle between Light and L. This show is wonderfully short for how in-depth and complex it is. It's 37 episodes, which is super easy to get into. Since buying the Blu-ray, it is something I've been watching currently again. The animation for an anime that was made in 2007 is honestly phenomenal. It might not catch up to today's standards, especially with something like Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen, but even after all these years, it still holds up wonderfully. There have been some ups and downs with this anime. The first half is near perfect from start to finish. The second half not so much, but it's not bad, it's just hard when it's compared to the first half. You know, Death Note itself is one that I would classify as essential viewing for anyone getting into anime. Sadly, I think it's only available physically in the UK at the moment, at least the streaming services I have, it's not on any of those. Next, coming at number 3, is Haikyuu. Now, I did say that there was a sports anime higher on this list, and here it is. Now, if the other two above this didn't exist, this would be my number 1. Now, it's very close between the top 3, it's not even funny. Haikyuu is a sports anime, and it's about volleyball. Why would that be amazing? Well, I could say the normal thing of just watch it and find out, but that's boring. But still go watch it and find out. Simple premise, executed wonderfully, great cast of characters, intense volleyball matches that are fairly realistic, outside of the freak quick, and only gets better over the season. It goes the extra mile to make characters outside the main team likeable and interesting, add on an amazing soundtrack composed by Haishi Yuki, who did things like Death Parade and Kisniver, over the top animation, and you have yourself a very easy show to watch and get invested in. Characters. The show gives you a character that flat out enjoys the sport and tries his absolute hardest all the time against almost impossible odds. People eat that shit up. Also, the dynamics between all the main characters and how they interact with each other from other schools is extremely well done. Each character interaction feels organic and flows really well. This show has amazing direction, each shot captures all the visual information you need and just flat out looks amazing. Add on top of this some of the best fluid action shots in the volleyball scenes and you have a visual masterpiece. Great musical and audio designs, the sports scenes have great sound effects. When they hit balls it sounds real, when the balls strike the ground it sounds real, etc. The music really fits and gets you into the scene. It captures a lot of the outside of the sport moments. There are absolutely great shows that only focus or mainly focus on the sports aspect, but Haikyuu takes the time to build upon the surrounding world, which is a really nice touch. I couldn't believe how much I became invested in every character in the show. I literally don't hate anyone. I want them all to win at different points. Well, at least the main teams. Bokuto is my favourite character, but he isn't met till a bit later on. Just more on the characters, what Haikyuu does especially well is it makes each character foil and contrast interestingly with other characters, and in each arc we get to see those foils interact. They're often divided up into pairs which show different sides of people, different conflicts and different similarities. You can ask the question, how does X relate to Y? And for each character there'll be something. Haikyuu also does this on a team level. Each team has its own character and they're explored through rivalries and ongoing stories between players of different teams along with the way they play. Teams and players are rarely characterised as evil, instead through storytelling rivalries and friendships are formed around the game. The well-developed cast of characters, teams and their relationships is accompanied by strong animation, a classic underdog story, a hype action soundtrack and just the right amount of humour. But if this isn't enough to convince you, that's okay. Sports anime isn't for everyone. Most people at the Volleyball Society at the uni I went to either watch Haikyuu since joining or have gone into the Volleyball Society because of Haikyuu, and I've heard similar things from other universities. Haikyuu is available on Crunchyroll and Netflix in the UK, which is awesome, and it does have most of it released physically at the moment, I think all bar part of maybe season 4. Sadly, it's not quite finished yet, but some of the best moments are still to come. To sound like a broken record, it's a show I watch a lot and one of the ones, if not the first show, that got my partner Maddie into anime. This is it folks, Haikyuu gets your girlfriend into anime. You heard it here first. As far as I'm aware, so far there is 85 episodes and 5 OVAs and 1 film, which are all canon, which is great. Sounds a little chunky I know, but you can easily watch season 1 that has 25 episodes and get a feel for it. Again, this is one of those non-battle anime that really excels in the tense moments. Penultimately at number 2 is Naruto. So after Death Note being my first proper introduction to anime, and finishing Death Note, I decided to watch Naruto, and here we are at my number 2. Now, to get things out of the way, I know Naruto isn't the most complex and has a lot of faults with its large amount of filler. The first time I watched Naruto, I didn't even know what filler was. I consumed all of Naruto and its sequel Shippuden. Anytime I have gone back to watch it, I haven't watched Naruto with filler, which makes it a lot more enjoyable and a lot more like condensed and precise. I started off with a dub for this as well, and this was my first anime to go to sub, as I was having to wait weekly, something we can all sympathise. For Naruto, I'm happy with either sub or dub, but probably seen more sub than dub by now. I started watching, I think, around the sort of 2012 mark or so, but I sympathise with Naruto a lot, and we kind of grew up together, and I had a lot of difficulties later in life and things, and it just, I sympathised a lot, but that's why it holds such a special space in my heart. Minus all the other good things I'm going to talk about, obviously. Original Naruto was so gritty with its animation. So many times I have since watched AMVs of my favourite fights, as well as done a similar thing to Dragon Ball Z, where I've watched countless videos about if these characters fought, could they win? The games I started playing on the Xbox 360 with Generations, and then it went to Ultimate Ninja Storm 3, and Revolution, and then Storm 4 on the PS4 and Shinobi Striker, although Shinobi Striker wasn't that good, so a fair amount of games has taken up my time as well. I would like to one day get the Ultimate Ninja Storm trilogy on the PS4, but waiting to find it in the wild first. With this, I will give a little more context than some of my others on this list. Naruto is a popular Japanese anime and manga series created by Makashi Kishimoto. I have all of it in like physical manga form. His brother has also done a very cool series called O-Part, Fox Hunter, which I'd fully recommend checking out as well. So the story follows Naruto Uzumaki, a young ninja with dreams of becoming the strongest ninja and the leader, which is the Hokage of his village, which is the Hidden Leaf Village. So a lot of the key themes and elements within this, character development. Naruto starts out as like an outcast. He's shunned by the villagers because he's the host of the nine-tailed fox, otherwise known as Kurama, a powerful beast that attacked the village years ago. His journey focuses on overcoming loneliness, gaining acceptance, and proving his worth. Other characters such as Sasuke and Sakura also undergo significant development, each with their own struggles and goals. So within the ninja world, the series is set in a world where ninjas possess various abilities called jutsu, which they use in combat for various missions. Different villages have unique techniques and traditions. So with the friendship and rivalry, that Naruto's relationships with his friends and rivals, particularly Sasuke and Sakura, are central to the story. Themes of friendship, loyalty and rivalry are often explored throughout the series. There's a lot of themes of peace and conflict. The narrative delves into the cycles of hatred and conflict among ninja clans and villages, exploring the impact of war and the pursuit of peace. Then there's also a large focus on legacy and mentorship. Naruto's journey is influenced by the mentors he encounters, including Kakashi and Jiraiya, and then later on in Shippuden he has someone else, but when you watch it you can get into that, and they help shape his growth and ideals. To sort of break Naruto down, it's in two parts. So part one is Naruto, the original series, which focuses on Naruto's early adventures and his growth as a ninja. Part two is Naruto Shippuden. It continues the story as Naruto and his friends face greater challenges, including the Akatsuki organization, which seeks to capture powerful tailed beasts. There is endless fight scenes that are amazing, but as like most, the Pain arc is one of my favourite arcs and fights in general, and Naruto versus Pain was so epic at the time. I've seen so many AMVs of it. I even have some Naruto tattoos as well. Oh, that reminds me, I also have some Dragon Ball Z tattoos as well, and a little cheeky wheezing. I love the whole concept of chakra and the elements they use. It's a bit like Avatar: The Last Airbender and things. It gets so complicated, going from the normal fire, wind, water, earth and lightning all the way to random things like magnetic and wood. The villains are some of the best and amazing in all anime, for me at least. So many memorable ones that have stayed with me. It's not usual that I can like the villains despite them actually just being bad. Like, I don't particularly want them to succeed, but I still find their villainous very cool. Normally I'm very linear with siding with heroes in a series and things. This series has some amazing openings, ones I've listened to honestly hundreds of times. Now, Naruto has 220 episodes, but without filler it's 129, so it's 91 episodes of filler, which I understand is a lot. Naruto Shippuden has 500 episodes and has 188 filler episodes, so without a doubt it's the longest anime on this list. This is the big one, and a big one at that, and I don't expect many of you to embark on this if you haven't already seen it, but maybe try some of the movies and see. It has 11 movies, most of which are non-canon. Some of the earlier ones won't spoil much and will give you an idea for the series, so they might be a nice point of context to start with, kind of see the world of, the ninja world of Naruto and kind of see what you like and things, and if you like it enough, maybe give the series a bit of a watch. For me, Naruto is on Crunchyroll and I own most of it on DVD. I have heard they are releasing it on Blu-ray soon, so I'm going to scoop that up for sure. Finally, we arrive at the number one slot. Now, this isn't some niche number one, it's a very standard number one for a lot of people. It is Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. A series that is perfect to a T for me. Love every opening and has my favourite opening, which is the fourth one. Has some amazing characters, great story, you name it, it's got it. So there is two series that does fall under Fullmetal Alchemist. You have Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood and Fullmetal Alchemist. Now the difference between those are as follows. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood follows the manga more closely, whereas Fullmetal Alchemist, the original one, went on its own storyline as it was being made while the manga was being made. The Fullmetal Alchemist itself is a lot darker and is still an amazing show. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood just took the win and my heart for me. It's a lot more light-hearted as well. Now, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood has 64 episodes, so a little on the longer side, but like Death Note, has an amazing first few episodes to really hook you. It's available physically and I think on Amazon Prime and Crunchyroll here in the UK, but I've only ever watched it physically, I must say. Although I did watch it on Netflix, but it's not on there anymore, so I didn't want to really recommend it. Just the live action adaptations, which are not amazing, but still something you can consume. It's not like the Dragon Ball Evolution, let's put it at that. This is a masterpiece that stands as the pinnacle of storytelling in the anime world. It offers a profound narrative that seamlessly blends action, emotion, and philosophical depth. The story is a compelling journey of two brothers, Edward and Alphonse Elric, whose quest to right the wrongs of their past lead them through a world of alchemy, sacrifice, and redemption. What sets this anime apart is not just its intricate plot, but its richly developed characters, each with their own unique arcs and complexities. From the strong-willed and determined Edward to the gentle yet resilient Alphonse, every character feels real and relatable, making their struggles and triumphs resonate deeply with the audience. The fights, while visually stunning, are more than just spectacles. They carry weight and meaning, reflecting the characters' growth and the stakes of their journey. Each battle is a clash of ideals as much as it is of a physical strength, adding layers of depth to the action. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is more than just an anime, it's an experience that captures the essence of what makes storytelling in this medium so powerful. Whether you're new to anime or a seasoned fan, this series is a must-watch, offering a perfect blend of narrative brilliance, character development, and philosophical reflection. It truly embodies the idea of peak fiction. That will now wrap it up for this video. I'm not 100% sure that this was amazing as a whole. I'm trying to follow a bit more of a script. Hopefully it has helped. Thank you for staying to the end of the video, and I hope that this video helped with at least one new anime to add to your lists and watch. Let me know some of your anime top 10s in the comments below, and let me know what your favourite anime is as well down below. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and look out for the next poll to help decide what video I will do next. Have a lovely day. Hey, thank you for watching the video. Click the button to keep watching, or click the other video for more videos, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.